For a lot of people, including me, the second solo movie of Captain America easily ranks in the top 3 best Marvel films of all time. And it's no surprise why. The movie combines a solid script with jaw-dropping fight scenes, and even introduces the world to Black Panther, one of my all-time favorite heroes. But did you know that even more than 10 years after its release, fans of the first Avenger are still uncovering new details and hidden Easter eggs? The movie kicks off with Steve Rogers repeatedly lapping Sam Wilson, who we later find out will eventually take up the mantle of Captain America. And if you're a movie buff like we are, it's impossible to watch that scene and not think of one of the most iconic movie franchises of all time, Rocky. Even though they're totally different stories, it's pretty clear the filmmakers drew inspiration from the 1976 classic, especially when Steve pulls out his little pocket notebook full of things he needs to check out online. And look who made the list. That's right, Rocky is on there, though it seems someone told him to watch Rocky 2, which, to be fair, is the best in the series. But another thing that quickly grabs your attention on Steve's list is the entry that reads Star Wars Trek. This is a clear nod to the age-old debate among fans. Which space saga reigns supreme? If I had to guess, I think Steve would lean towards Star Wars, especially since it's also owned by Disney, just like Marvel. So it kinda fits, doesn't it? And these are just the first of the 21 incredible details and references from Captain America, the Winter Soldier that you're going to see today. Get ready, because we're about to drop a serious Easter egg overload on your screen. Even though Cap's list is packed with cool stuff, there's one thing missing: MMA. If someone had tipped him off, he probably would have watched a few fights featuring Georges St-Pierre, the multi-time UFC champ from Canada, who plays the villain Batroc in the movie. And yep, Batroc is actually a real villain from the comics. Not many people catch it, but Batroc's outfit in the movie is directly inspired by his comic book look from way back in 1996, bright yellow and pink. Throughout the movie, we get introduced to S.H.I.E.L.D's Project Insight, a high-tech initiative designed to stop threats before they even happen. Sounds great, right? Well, it would be, if Hydra hadn't secretly been running the whole thing. And if you pay close attention during the scene where Cap walks across the ship deck right before being attacked by Batroc, you can actually see the project's name written on one of the parked helicarriers. Speaking of colors again, there's something odd going on with S.H.I.E.L.D's logo. Take a good look. It's got green and yellow as the main color scheme. And guess what? Those are the exact same colors Hydra uses in the comic books. So yes, it totally checks out. Hydra really had their claws in S.H.I.E.L.D. the whole time. Gotta admit, that's one seriously clever visual clue. Now going back to the beginning of the movie and that running scene, we see that Steve loves to let Sam know when he's passing on his left. It's super clear that it really bothered Falcon a lot, since he could never beat Steve in a race. But he had his moment of glory, almost like sweet revenge. At the start of that epic scene where Cap is facing off against Thanos and is about to be swarmed by his army of minions, Falcon speaks into his comms and tells Steve to look to his left, right where the portal opens, bringing in reinforcements from Wakanda and all over the world. Seriously, that callback was legendary. And if you think about it, this happens again in the same movie, right at the very end, when we see an elderly Steve sitting on the bench, and once again Sam walks up to him from his left side. But this time it was more than worth it. After all, he got handed the shield and officially became the new Captain America. If you're really into great Marvel movies, drop a MCU in the comments. In another scene, while discussing the mission on the ship, S.H.I.E.L.D. boss Nick Fury takes Cap down to the underground facility where all the equipment unknown to Steve is being kept. Among these, we can spot the 3 massive helicarriers, those huge flying warships. You can see the letters I and N along the sides, referencing Project Insight, and the carriers are numbered up to 03, just as Nick mentions, confirming there are 3 of them. After Cap and Nick Fury have a disagreement about Project Insight, Steve visits the aviation and military exhibit. There, we can spot a quote from President Matthew Ellis displayed with his picture. This is the same president who plays an important role in Iron Man 3.
Mr. President! Just hold on, all right? I'm coming.
I believe he's the one who eventually loses the election to General Ross in Captain America 4. When Steve visits an elderly Peggy, a really interesting detail caught our attention. Even though she's married, the pictures in her room only show her and her 2 children. This sparked a very intriguing theory, that from the very beginning, those kids were actually Steve's with Peggy, since he goes back in time to marry her as we saw in Avengers Endgame. That's exactly why he chose not to appear in any of the photos, which honestly makes total sense, right? Still talking about Peggy, or better yet, her family, we see that Steve runs into Sharon Carter, who he doesn't yet know works for S.H.I.E.L.D. She mentions that her aunt suffers from insomnia. Of course, she's talking about Peggy. Steve just didn't realize it yet. Next, as Steve walks into his apartment, we hear the exact same song playing that he and Peggy danced to when he went back in time to live a normal civilian life. That was exactly what he was thinking about doing when he had that conversation with Sam at the VA center. There's no way all of this is just coincidence. As he starts getting suspicious, he ends up entering through the window, and we're deliberately shown a bunch of books about US presidents, which reinforces that Steve truly is a patriot. We can spot, for instance, books written by Barack Obama and also George Bush, both former American presidents. We also see a 2-volume compendium focused on World War II. That's probably what Steve used to catch up on everything that happened in the war after he became a heroic popsicle in the Arctic. No offense, Captain. If you're enjoying the video, do a good deed and subscribe to our channel so we can keep making awesome content like this. Continuing the string of references in the movie, after Steve and Natasha grab the flash drive and leave the S.H.I.E.L.D facility, they end up at an Apple store where an employee approaches them. That's definitely no coincidence, considering the name of the company and its founder, Steve Jobs, was on that list of names and things that Cap was told to look up on the internet later on, remember? And it's pretty obvious the movie is packed with merchandising moments, with the Apple placement being just one of many. That's because right at the beginning of the movie, during the running scene, it's clear in several shots that the captain is wearing an Under Armour shirt. And right after that, Black Widow shows up driving an incredible black metallic 7th generation Corvette Stingray with a V8 engine that goes from 0 to 60 mph in about 3.8 seconds. Yep, we're car lovers. And no, we're not blaming the brands. After all, who wouldn't want to advertise in a movie about Marvel's most patriotic superhero, right? By the way, if there's an open spot to promote our channel in the next Marvel movie, count us in. Right after that, Natasha and Steve arrive at the location where the signal from the USB drive is coming from, and many fans didn't even notice. But that's the very same training base where the captain began his military career back when he was still a skinny kid. In fact, once inside, Steve pauses for a moment and looks up at the flagpole at the training field. He's probably remembering the day he managed to grab that flag, something no other soldier had been able to do. Seriously, I love that scene.
Get up there!
When Secretary Pierce, who as we already know is part of Hydra, walks in to talk to Bucky, there are 2 men standing behind him, and one of them is none other than Ed Brubaker, the mastermind behind the Winter Soldier comic book storyline published back in 2004, which inspired this amazing Captain America movie. Now that's a well-deserved shout-out for sure. After all the epic battles and the ultimate destruction of Project Insight, Agent Brock Rumlow survives, but is left badly burned, and at that exact moment we get a clear reference to his comic book alter ego, Crossbones. He would later appear in full villain form in Captain America: Civil War, and if you look closely while he's lying down, you can actually spot the crossbones symbol subtly referenced by his chest harness, basically a teaser for his full villain costume. And finally, the movie makes a callback to something Sam mentioned to Steve early on, when the captain jotted down that he needed to check out one of Marvin Gaye's most iconic songs, Trouble Man. And sure enough, it's the same song Falcon plays for him while he's in the hospital. A really cool connection between the scenes, no doubt about it. No question about it. Just like we said at the beginning, The Winter Soldier is one of the best MCU movies ever. And if you're into everything pop culture like we are, check out these 2 video options we've picked out just for you. Click on either one. We guarantee you're gonna love it.